name's Barry Ragsdale. Thanks for coming this afternoon. What we're going to go over today is our induction and new teacher orientation plan. This PowerPoint is just a brief overview of our plan that we have developed for our new incoming teachers. So first thing, the plan was developed because we realized that there is a need to try to retain new teachers, keep teachers in the field, and then also encourage people to enter the field in the future. So there is a problem. It says until we recognize that we have a teacher retention problem, we will continue to engage in costly annual recruitment and hiring cycle. I'm not going to read all that quote there to you, but I'll show you a brief stat here from the year 2010, 2011. Looking at Alabama alone, we had roughly 4,000 teachers that were completing teacher programs in college, and we have seen a drastic decrease in people entering the field of education. And we know in Alabama, just a few months ago, we had state superintendent come speak to us, and he talked about the need to encourage new teachers from hiring incentives, salary, very different strategies that he was looking to implement. But so this is kind of that for our school. How can we get quality new teachers, and once we get them, how can we keep them into the field of education? So most new teachers, these are the things that we found that most new teachers worry about. Do they have support from administration in the classroom? Is their classroom management on point? Of course, the big thing with us, we understand it's an Alabama tenure. New teachers are worried about getting to that third year and gaining tenure. And then are they just doing a good job overall? Well, the simple answer to this seems to be, well, if somebody tells me I'm doing a good job, then that means I'm doing a good job. Well, that's not sufficient in most cases. We need to have a more in-depth plan to let these new teachers know whether they're doing it right, doing it wrong, to encourage them and help them become a better teacher. So we want to talk about several issues. Today we're going to talk about some legal, ethical issues that face teachers today, and we're going to see how teachers can find themselves in trouble. We're going to talk about Alabama ethics standards, areas for implementation, and then lastly we'll talk about the outline of our plan. So first thing I want to talk about are some behaviors of teachers that have recently got them a spot on the evening news. See a picture here, local teacher, unlawful sex with a minor. And these things seem like things that we shouldn't have to talk about, but you turn on the news almost on a nightly basis, and there's an educator that has given us a bad name on the nightly news. So individual here was under the influence of prescription drugs and alcohol while at school. Sexual explicit text messages to a minor. So these were three things that were relatively new here that have been in the news in recent times. So that brings us to the Alabama Code of Ethics. Okay, we as educators have standards that we are to teach by and lead by example, and these are outlined in the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics represents the standard of behavior that is accepted by a profession, organization, or a corporation. So looking at these 9 standards that we have here, these are the 9 standards that we're called as teachers to teach by. Standard 1, I'll go through them real quick. I'm not going to go in detail with all these standards. Standard 1 deals with professional conduct. 2 is trustworthiness. 3 is unlawful acts. 4, teacher-student relationship. 5, alcohol, drug, tobacco use or possession. Standard 6, public funds and property. Standard 7, remunerative conduct. I mean, are you taking pay, or are you getting benefits other than what's allotted to you? And you know, there's instances you can do that. I just want to talk about that for a second because I have questions about that. People ask me, what does that mean? Well, if you're handling school money, or you're selling something that you're not receiving, so on and so forth. There can be other means there. Standard 8, maintenance of confidentiality, and Standard 9, abandonment of contract. Now, you can look in on the State Department of Education. You can go to the Alabama Code of Ethics and look at each of these standards in detail. But those, just outlining those, are the 9 standards. And you as a teacher, you as an educator, okay, you be on both sides of this. The first part of this deals with reporting somebody that's violating one of these standards. You have 60 days to do so from the time that you spot one of these standards being broken. So you do have an obligation, I have an obligation to report any of these standards being breached. And then also you can be on the other side. You can be the one that committed the action that breached this contract, and you can face getting your license revoked or denial of certificates. Okay? I'm going to tell young teachers, and we should encourage young teachers, think about all the work that you put in to get to this point, and you can throw it all away with one just simple action. Okay? We want to encourage new teachers. So first of all, we want to encourage them to be ethical. Secondly, we want to encourage them to be good teachers in a 21st century classroom by utilizing technology that we have at hand. Now, we're lucky here to have many technological devices that are in our classroom, but just by having a computer and just by making students do work on a computer does not make the assignment any better or make you a better teacher. It's how you utilize that. So I'm not going to read through all of these. You can look through those. But this kind of sums it up when implementing technology. Something boring on paper is still boring on a tablet or laptop. If it's the same thing, just put it on a computer, it's still boring. Okay? There's right and wrong ways to do that. So in our day and time, we should also encourage these new teachers in this plan to be a champion of digital citizenship. Okay? What does that mean? New teachers should model how we want our students to engage with technology. So, teaching these new teachers how to do this, how to be a good teacher, how to improve. We're going to take time in our PLCs, or professional learning communities. We're going to meet within those. It's going to be a time for collaboration. This will be every 2 weeks. This is time for administrators to collaborate with new teachers, as well as veteran teachers. And the PLCs should be run by veteran teachers. So this first way will be for a new teacher to be in a group, a large group with other veteran teachers in this professional learning community. Okay, a smaller group, a smaller PLC will be, for instance, in the math. Say you're a math, the head of the math mentor program. Okay, once we get away from our normal PLC, you might meet with a new teacher to sit down one-on-one and discuss lesson plans, discuss implementation of teaching strategies, so on and so forth. So we have our large-scale PLC that's school-wide, and then we break it down to our mentor and mentees more on one-on-one session. Okay, so the mentees are assigned a mentor within a school building to have a point of contact and a knowledgeable teacher mentorship, somebody to share your vast knowledge with. We have in our program for each of these areas in school: special education, English language learners, IEP completion, career tech programs, pre-K, and adolescent literacy. That does not apply to everybody. Okay, everybody will be in a different grouping of these. But if you are a special education teacher, instructor, you will be placed in a PLC with somebody that can help you complete these IEPs, which we know can be very extensive. And that is one thing that I see to a first-year special education teacher. An IEP can be overwhelming. Okay, and so partnering with I think partnering with a special education teacher, a veteran, that's probably the most useful area. If you've ever seen the IEP and how much work, how much time it takes to get into that. So you will be partnered with somebody in your field there. Okay. So again, a little overview of our mentoring program. We will have the administrator will choose a school-wide lead mentor. So history department will have somebody that is head of the history mentoring program and pairing people there with a mentor. Then the school-wide mentor will step down and he will choose qualified candidates who can mentor these new teachers. At least 3 years experience in the grade level content area, and then they got to have good organizational and communicational skills. Okay, so not just any veteran teacher is going to be able to participate in this successfully. We've got to be willing to, and got to have those good organizational and communication skills. Lastly here, there were some responsibilities that we're going to ask for our mentors of these new teachers. We're going to ask them to document things that they do to help these new teachers out. Okay, we're going to ask them to attend professional development, teach them how to be a successful mentor. We need to take this seriously. Okay, the biggest thing is documentation. Documentation that we're actually doing something to encourage and help these new teachers, and helping with these things. At the very bottom, lesson plans, paperwork, and just general everyday school procedures. As a veteran teacher, I've been here 8 years, and I think I know pretty much what our administration expects for us in certain areas, and we get, that's not a big deal to us, but if you go back and think about your first year as a teacher and how maybe stressed you was about doing everything right, and am I doing this right, am I doing that right? Well, having a successful mentoring plan will take a lot of the stress off these new teachers that, we see a high percentage of new teachers leave the field within 3 years and go into something else. So this mentoring plan, again, just an overview of some of the things that we're going to touch on in our mentoring plan. These just are a few of the basic groundworks that we need to successfully implement to properly train and retain these new teachers. So, any questions? Thank you all for coming this afternoon.